Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We're back again with more Black Geyser content. And this time, I want to go through the list of the different races you have access to upon character creation. They are all markedly different, and you get access to very different classes based upon what type of race you pick. So I think it might be useful for some of you who know you're definitely going to play, but are trying to figure out what kind of build you want to do. This information is going to help you figure out what kind of path you're probably going to go down. So let's go ahead and get started. First up is human. All races have the option of being male or female, and it does not change your stats in any way, by the way. All right. Humans were once a united tribe that roamed Yerengal for generations. The dark goddess of greed, Zornilsa, infected their hearts slowly with greed, avarice, and jealousy. The single tribe of man became many as they turned on one another. They warred for resources and land, forgetting their roots. Their bonds were broken and their old alliances splintered. Humans come in many different shapes and colors and can be found all over Yerengal. They are natural farmers, working the land as an artist works clay. Human versatility means that they can fill virtually any role. That last sentence actually is huge. One of the main advantages of being a human is they can be any class. They are the only race in this game that can be any class. Any other race you choose, you'll see in the stats, it's going to have a list of classes that you are not able to select with it. So when I first saw that, I'll be honest, I didn't like it at all because I'm kind of used to games where they let you combine whatever it is that you want. And I've always kind of liked that. You know, if I want to make a hulking orc who is also this gifted spellcaster, let me go ahead and do that. But the more I played the game and the more I thought about it, I really like the way that they lean into the role-playing aspect of it. You really have to try to embody the particular role, and that includes the type of race that you're playing. And going through the game, I think it's effective, and I've come to enjoy it. So you all can make your own decision about how you feel about it. You also take a -1 maximum in Supernatural. So Supernatural basically guides, do you have access to certain supernatural abilities, and how resistant are you to supernatural abilities being used against you? So basically this tells you that other supernatural creatures, if you choose human, they're going to see you as a peon and they're going to treat you like a peon. That's basically what it comes down to. All right, next up, Dwarf. The devil god Hrothgar was angry over the creation of the elves and the threat they represented to his plans to throw the world into darkness. He sent a succubus to impregnate elven women in an effort to steal the essence that lie within their wombs. The elven mothers despaired, but the green goddess told her daughters to seek the first waters of Yerengal. They did so, but were trapped in a stone cavern when Hrothgar sent demons to destroy them. The children survived the attack, but their mothers died. Men in the mountains found the babes and raised them as their own, but the elven progeny were stunted and hairy. The children, now known as dwarves, grew and prospered, sharing their love of their elven parents, but began to exhibit a preference for the deaths of the world. Dwarves are very materialistic, but have a strong connection to clan and family. They are stout and powerfully built, well suited to exploiting the natural tunnels that form deep in the ground. So as always, dwarves are absolutely awesome, and I don't think this game is any exception to that. I really like the nice, unique lore that they have associated with the dwarves. When you look at the stats, dwarves cannot be necromancers, winter mages, spellweavers, convocers, druids, templars, rangers, or swindlers. However, they can wield war clubs and hammers, regardless of what class they choose. As far as their attributes, they get a +1 to maximum physique, which means they're going to deal more physical damage and they're going to have more health and be more physically resistant. But they get a -2 to maximum charisma, which of course is going to deeply impact how good they are at persuading people they talk with. And they also get a -1 to maximum supernatural, which I've already covered. They're going to get an additional 15% damage with war clubs and hammers, an additional 12% damage with battle axes, and an additional 9% damage with slings and balls. This is okay that they get all of this, but the fact of the matter is, with any class you choose, more than likely you're going to choose one type of weapon and then excel in that. I can't imagine that there are going to be many people trying to make a build where you're just switching around to different types of weapons, but who knows what people will decide to do. But me personally, sooner or later, I'll probably play a Dwarf, and when I do, I'll just go ahead and take that 15% in war clubs and hammers and be done with it and move forward. Elf. As the tribes of men fell to greed and the world was spoiled, the green goddess wept. The king god allowed Talinda to select a few tribes of man, those least affected by greed, to be her vassals in Ismeralda. Talinda chose 11 tribes of man to claim as her own. Those 11 tribes were come to be known as elves as time passed. Elves share a special connection with nature, feeling an inherent connection to all natural things. The generations apart from men have changed them physically. Their narrow frames allowed them to move faster and quieter than men. Their ears grew pointed to better pick out distant or small sounds. The elves tend to be xenophobic and haughty towards the other races due to their chosen status imparted by Talinda. And if we look at their stats, elves cannot be necromancers, shamans, or templars, and they get a +1 to maximum dexterity, which does the things you would expect, helps you with bows and arrows, and to evade attacks. They get a -2 to maximum physique, which means they're going to get less health, and they're not going to do as much physical damage. They do get a +15% damage bonus with bows and arrows. So obviously, if you want to play an archer, elves are going to be absolutely awesome for you. They do get several of the spell casting classes as well, just a couple of them that they are not able to use. Feldegug. The Feldegug were once elven tribes who lived close to the north. The demigod Dargomir grew jealous over the love the elves showed for Talindia and imprisoned a number of elven tribes in the snowy, cold north. He would forge his own race and command them as he saw fit. But the elves were first a creation of the God King and the Green Goddess, and as they changed to survive in the north, they also realized the strength they would need to be free. Dargomir eventually realized his mistake and allowed his creations to rule themselves and commanded them to form 6 tribes. Drawing from the strength granted by their cold imprisonment and their god and goddess, they rebelled against their demigod. Feldegug are similar to elves but much paler. They are resistant to a hard environment whom most would consider unlivable. They are rarely seen outside of their snowy northern homelands, and most other races are very distrustful of them. So, looking at the stats, a Feldegug cannot be a necromancer, shaman, or templar. They do get a +1 of maximum intelligence, which is going to help them be better spellcasters, and it's also going to assist with skills that have them do things like learn how to read scrolls. They take a -1 of maximum charisma and physique. I've already covered those attributes a little bit. And they get a +1 to maximum supernatural, which we also covered as well. And then finally, we have the race that I actually chose for the playthrough I'm doing right now on the channel, the Rillow. Travelers, traders, and alchemists from the Eastern Empires, the Rillow are a child race of a powerful Djinn called Elenuatar. Their homeland is shrouded in mystery, so few outside the Rillow themselves know much about them. What is known is that they are seekers of pleasure and experience, consummate traders and nomadic caravanners. Rillow are a large, physically imposing race who bear a passing resemblance to elephants. They eschew religion and favor displays of wealth and have a natural talent for brewing and drying. And here's a picture of them. So just as a note, from what I've seen in the game thus far, again, I'm only about 5 hours into it, seems like the Rillow are looked at as imperialist and people who are taking other folks' land and encroaching upon their territories. So I don't think I've heard anyone who had a positive impression of the Rillow thus far. Anytime they're mentioned, it seems to be in a negative light. So I throw that out there in case some of you might actually care about that and it changes which race you want to play as. And then as far as the stats, Rillows cannot be Rangers, Templars, or Winter Mages. They get a +2 to maximum physique while taking a -2 to maximum dexterity. So clearly these are guys who are meant to be fighters, warriors, holding a weapon based upon the stats that you get. But of course, you can put them into any class that you want as long as it's not on the list of ones that they are excluded from. And that is the full list of races in Black Geyser. I hope this information helps you figure out what kind of build you'd like to run when you're playing the game for yourself. Let me know down in the comments if you have any feedback. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.